Hello, Jordan.
Hello, Michael.
I am in a great mood.
I can tell.
Life is amazing.
You know how I can tell when you're in a good mood just purely based on a text message when we haven't even really spoken yet is when you say the podcast was sent with an exclamation point, like the link. You're like, sent with the exclamation point. But if there's no exclamation point, doesn't mean it's a bad mood, but it's just like a normal mood where it's like sent. But when it's sent, that's when we know I'm in for a good podcast.
That's a little tip on reading people, a la Sciat Fitness. Bro, I just had a world-class workout.
Oh,
Absolute world-class.
What'd you do?
Upper push.
Oh, nice.
Chest, shoulders, triceps, everything was grooving. Was feeling it deep in the muscle bellies, mind muscle, locked and loaded, strong, increasing weight.
When you're really going hard and heavy, okay? Like you're really going hard and heavy, like you're pushing at or near failure.
By the way, I wasn't, but keep
you
going.
weren't? Oh, okay.
No. I don't think I hit RPE 8 even. My
interesting.
Top set of bench, I probably, actual 8. Like gun to your head, family's life's at stake, RPE 8, like a true 8. No, probably a 7, but sorry, I interrupted.
Well, I mean, that's what I was going to say is like, do you go anywhere mentally when you're at like an RPE 9 or like when you're having those sessions where you're really trying to go nuts? Do you think in your head, if I don't do this, my family will die? Like, is that your mentality ever?
15 years ago, yes. Now, no. I mean, maybe on the one-off if I have to go there. It's part of the reason I told you the other day that off the pod, I think that I don't really love hypertrophy training that much, even though I've developed a reputation for it, because the effort required to take so many sets near failure consistently for years is exhausting and debilitating. And for me personally, puts me in a place where I have to go to such like dark places in terms of anger, pain to produce that outcome that I'll do it from time to time, but I don't like I used to when I was younger. That's for sure.
So what made today so good? It just felt good. Like
felt good. Great pump.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is probably what matters more are the workouts when you don't feel good. Like getting through those training sessions are actually more important. Like today is just fun, right? Everything was grooving. Weight felt light. Happy to be there. Like in a good mood. That's icing on the cake. Where you really make progress and develop the lifelong habit is when you don't want to go to the gym, when you didn't sleep great, when you're stressed, when you feel a little banged up, but you still get through the session. That's actually where those add up in the long run.
100%. And I feel like the sessions that are like truly, truly fun are fewer and further between the more you do it. Like when you're like that, the most fun I've ever had, like the most like real fun was when I was working out in high school. That was like the most fun workouts. And then even when I was in college and powerlifting and I had the best training of my life with like the best training partners and it was still really fun. It was more fun was the post workout when we all went and got chocolate milk at CVS or Walgreens on Main Street. But the most fun I've had consistently, workout after workout after workout, was high school workouts.
Interesting. That makes sense. I hadn't really started liking it yet. I agree with you high level that earlier on compared to 20 years in, you're going to have more like, when you're really obsessed with it.
It's a novelty still. It's a novelty. Yeah. It's like, I haven't done this exercise ever before. Mm-hmm. But to be fair, that's also why I've had so much fun with my mobility training recently or in the last year, because I haven't done this style of training as my main modality. Mm-hmm. Same thing when I started with jiu-jitsu. When you start something new and you start a new type of training, it's also one of the reasons why I like hiring new coaches every like year and a half or so, because you get a new style of training. It's fun for you get a refresh, which is nice.
Yeah. Not only do you get the benefit of learning from them, but like you said, the psychological stimulation of the novelty.
Good, bro. I'm glad you had a good workout. That makes me happy. It sets the tone for the day.
Good. I mean, your tone, it's 11:54 a.m. Your tone's been set. You're grinding.
Dude, I'm grinding every day.
You're grinding
Dude,
life.
you babysat yesterday? You grinded?
Brother, that's next on my list. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago.
Oh, yeah, the days blend together at this point. 1 week is all one day.
I want to give a massive, the biggest shout out to all of the parents and specifically like stay-at-home moms and stay-at-home dads, but stay-at-home moms.
There are more stay-at-home moms than there are stay-at-home dads.
Over the course of time, there's been, like 20 million X more stay-at-home moms.
It's true, man.
When you look at human history.
Yeah. And even now, probably.
20 million's a lot. 20 million ones, but over human history for sure. And yes, there's still more. I babysat my nephew by myself. My wife wasn't with me it was the first time that I had done that. And,
it was the first time? It was the first time it was just you and him alone?
It was just the boys, just the two of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's 2 years old. He's a toddler. And he was amazing, but it's exhausting.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
Non-stop. And it wasn't even 2 hours, actually. It was probably
really?
It was probably an hour and a half. And I just developed a whole, projecting that hour and a half over the course of many years. Just, the first thing I said to you was, why didn't you tell me that watching a kid is significantly harder than work?
I'm going to read this text. You said, I got a text Tuesday, 4:35 p.m. Just out of nowhere. Parenting is harder than podcasting. You never told me this. And I said, bro, I've told you. And he said, you never said it was harder than our jobs.
Yeah. Designing programs, interacting with clients, even having a difficult client, having a difficult No, man. No. And he was great the entire time. I can't even imagine the times when a kid is acting up, but just the sheer amount of, I'm running around, jumping from couch to ottoman to couch and diving, and he's mimicking me, and we're laughing and more. Okay, I do it again. More of everything. We're dancing. We played the same song on repeat 30 times. Just more. It's exhausting.
Yeah, and it's great. It's great.
Of course.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I had to lay down after that hour and a half. I had to rest up and recover.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the parents.
2's a real savage of an age. 2's a real savage of an age. It's tough, man.
Yeah, it was.
They don't get tired.
That's what it is, yeah.
Or even if they get tired, it's funny, with my daughter, even when she's tired, it's when I get tired, I want to lay down. When my daughter gets tired, she just doesn't want to lay down. And I can tell she's tired. There are tells. She'll get deliriously goofy. She'll just laugh at anything. But she's still running around. She's still sprinting. It's not like she would say, hey, I'm going to go lie down, or I'm going to lie down because I'm tired. She would just go, even though she's exhausted. It's very interesting.
It's impressive is what it is.
It is.
Just a never-ending tank of gas.
I remember being at sleepovers and stuff when I was a kid, and all of us were exhausted, and we were just staying up and laughing, and we were laughing at things that weren't even funny just because we're tired, but we're all staying up because that's what you do when you're a kid. You just want to stay up because it's cool.
Right.
It's interesting. As you get older, you're tired of I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. But when you're a kid, nope, we're gonna stay up. We're gonna milk this as long as we can.
Those were the days. I feel like I would go to bed at sleepovers.
I believe that. I believe that you'd just be the one who'd cover your head with the what's it called? What's the sleeping bag? Sleeping bag. You'd cover your head and just I'm out. And I'd be the one who'd just be throwing stuff at you.
Yeah. Yes, you would.
And you'd be like, let me go to sleep.
Literally. That's exactly how it would have been. Jordan and Mike, age 9. We can bleep this name out, but I want to talk about a meal delivery service.
Okay.
That I tried.
I knew you don't like it.
I'm just gonna, it's better than it could have been, but it's not even that I don't like it. I'm just gonna say some good things and some bad things, and I'd rather not publicly.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, I guess the good is it's hyper convenient and seemingly nutritious, and the taste isn't bad at all for what it is. So
for a pre-prepared meal, it's good.
I don't believe the nutrition facts. Like,
you also don't believe the nutrition facts on the core powers.
No, I do.
You used to not though.
I used to not until I understood
how they did it.
This filtration system they use to like skim the protein out of milk. Some of these meals are 250 calories, 280 calories, and so filling that I don't understand what the ingredients are, that if the calories are accurate, I don't know what I'm putting in my body that's filling me up that much on those few calories. And there's a few random things. I feel like they're a newer company. So microwave, it says instructions are leave the plastic on when you microwave it. And so I did. And some of them have like the pancakes have a syrup, or there's sauces and they'll be in a little plastic container inside there. And the plastic is literally melting.
Oh yeah.
Like actually melting.
You got to take that out before you.
It's the instructions.
I know. Yeah. They got to fix that.
There aren't even that many words on the label, but it explicitly says, do not remove do not remove.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It says,
interesting.
Do not remove plastic, microwave as is. Yeah.
Oh, when I would do it, I would just open it, take the plastic out, and then reclose it again. But yeah, they got to fix that instruction. If they got to put that on McDonald's hot coffee and say, warning, this is hot, then they got to do that on these meals too.
Well, but you did the opposite of what the instructions say. You did the exact opposite.
Yeah.
It's not like the McDonald's thing. They're just tell you to do the wrong thing and then increase the estrogen of like our estrogen levels are high enough. We don't need to be eating melted plastic.
You got enough microplastics in us already.
we do. We do. Yeah, so in a pinch, probably good to have around. They delivered them 4 days before they were supposed to, and I was out of town, so that was a little weird. It might say that in the terms and conditions.
It was really great when my second daughter was born. It was really, really great because we weren't cooking. We didn't want to be ordering in junk all the time, like super high calorie stuff, like, and more expensive when you order food. So honestly, the immediate postpartum era was really nice to have.
From a convenience perspective, I completely agree. I'm just like, I know what the macros are of a quarter pounder. If I need to eat junk in a pinch, I'd rather know how many calories I'm putting in my body than eating something that isn't accurate.
I believe it's accurate. I believe it's, I do. I believe it's accurate.
3 pieces of French toast with chocolate, like not chocolate syrup, but like chocolate pasted on top of them with syrup. And the syrup's probably just artificial sweeteners, right? So we'll call the syrup 0 calorie for all intents and purposes. But 3 pieces of bread. French toast is made in egg, and then you have chocolate globbed on top.
But did they have egg on that French toast? I feel like I remember I got the French toast, and it didn't seem like they used egg on it or butter or anything. It seemed like it was just like bread.
I agree, no butter, but I still don't understand how the whole thing's 24 grams of carbs with 3 pieces of bread and all of this chocolate globbed on that chocolate had sugar in it. So anyway, I'm glad I tried it. And might even order from them again just to have a few in the freezer for an absolute pinch. But it's not going to be our main.
Did you ever get? Did you get the main meals, like the lunches and dinners, or just the breakfast?
Yeah, I got main meals as well, and they're decent. They're decent.
Okay, cool.
Digestion wasn't incredible after. Very filling, and a couple of them were good. There was a fish with linguine with spinach that was pretty good. Yeah.
We don't need to bleep the name out either. We can.
I'd rather.
Okay. We'll keep it out. What are you eating? What is that? A cookie?
You got so excited. What are you eating? What is that?
Well, you got to understand, anytime I even consider eating something on a podcast or on a live, I immediately get reprimanded for it.
Brother, that was years ago.
No, it wasn't you. I had olives like a week or two ago, and you were like, better be quiet.
That actually didn't happen. It actually didn't happen. What you did, that was probably a year and a half ago. One thing that you did do
the
was...
popcorn was a year and a half ago.
The popcorn was in 2021 when I was in Florida in January.
That was a long time
so that
ago.
was 4 years ago. What happened recently was you sat down with some food and at the beginning of a podcast and you go, just so you know, I'm going to be eating during this. And I said, no worries, brother. We have a good amount of time. Why don't you just eat and then we'll do the podcast? You're like, no, let's just get started. And I said, okay, how long are you going to be eating for? And you go, the whole episode. I said, okay. And then we just hit record.
And I was super quiet with it. It was quiet.
I think David makes it quiet. Shout out David the GOAT. But
Shout out David.
I could tell that stress levels were high and you didn't have time to eat. And, you got 2 little kids, so eat during the podcast. But this is a post-workout, just trying to keep my...
glycogen stores.
Yeah, just top everything off. The glycogen, the anabolism, the sugar to the brain, all of it.
I like, what kind of cookie? It's chocolate
Brain
chip?
glycogen. It's not a cookie. Come on, Jordan. I'm not just eating a cookie here in the middle of the day. It's a Cliff Bar. It's my post-workout enjoyment.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Want to give a big shout out to Debbie in the mentorship. Debbie emailed us and gave me a book recommendation.
Okay. What is it?
It is called How to Break Up with Your Phone, the 30-Day Plan to Take Back Your Life. After listening a couple episodes ago, Debbie was like, I listened to the episode and then immediately saw this book and thought of you. And so I'm going to check that out.
I'm going to have to check that out too. It's going to be one of those things where it's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this until I retire. I really think the only way I'll be able to do that is retirement. It's sort of like,
yeah,
an alcoholic being like,
no, it's not. You're making content.
Yeah, well, right. But like I have to. It'd be like if an alcoholic has to drink alcohol
to provide for their family.
Correct. Yeah. It's like, no, but like don't overdo it. It's
yeah.
just have a couple of drinks, but don't overdo it. All right.
Yeah,
it's like, just post, but then don't use social media after you post. It's like, okay, well, good luck.
And the analogy absolutely holds. It's probably less severe. It is less severe, obviously, than alcoholism.
Of course. It's not a physiological dependency.
I think there might be a small...
No, psychological, not physiological.
I don't know, man. I've seen some crazy... Look, not a physiological dependency like drugs and alcohol are. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I think there might be a degree of physiological dependence even on some of these... less addictive, quote unquote, things.
It's just different, right? It's
media.
like the alcohol is crazy because if someone is really, really, really over consuming alcohol and then they just stop cold turkey, like they can die.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you've really you can't just stop cold turkey all the time. Sometimes depending on the level of your addiction and severity of it, but alcohol is a real fucking beast.
It sure is. I'm not as good at eating during the podcast as you are.
Well, I'm fine with it, brother. You can eat as much as you could have a 7-course meal if you'd like while we do this podcast. I enjoy it.
I just got to get this little bit of carbs down. Okay. I actually don't know the answer to this one. And it's on the same subject. And maybe we'll just do it real quick and then maybe pick it up when I have an actual answer. But
of alcohol?
No, Eileen, big shout out Eileen. Longtime listener to the pod, said, Mike, good morning. Your entire rant on scrolling lands. I wanted you to know that. However, I get dopamine hits every Tuesday when you guys drop an episode.
Thank you, Eileen.
I'm sitting here listening to your pod, drinking my protein coffee, eating protein muffin, early AM. This is a total dopamine saturation for me. So the question is, how much dopamine do you think we, quote, avoid if we know it's our crack or our kryptonite? Where do you think the balance is to break bad habits? I realize everyone is personal. I'm curious on your thoughts because you're dialed into pleasure-seeking habits, as am I. Thank you. And for the love of God, please do not take away my weekly pods, Eileen. Pods aren't going anywhere, Eileen. That's the good news. So basically,
super nice message. That was really sweet. Thank you so much. That was really kind.
Yeah. I think it's a great question. I don't know the answer, but what is the balance of pleasure-seeking behavior in life? And we can think of it as a continuum from heroin junkie is probably like max pleasure-seeking. It doesn't look like it, but physiologically, that's what's going on. All the way to, I don't know, like a monk or someone who's extremely stoic, somebody who is not partaking in any pleasure-seeking behavior.
Man, there's a lot to be there's a lot to be broken down here, and I might say some things that I don't even agree with. So we'll see where this goes. But I think it really depends on how it's impacting other areas of your life. So, for example, I don't know anyone who impedes their life based on listening to a podcast. Like, I don't know anyone who's like, oh man, listening to podcasts has destroyed my life. Like, I'm no longer paying attention to my spouse. I'm not paying attention to my kids because I'm listening to podcasts. I don't know if that's ever happened, but I do know there are people who are stuck on their phones scrolling in front of their kids, who are not listening to their spouse, who are not working out, who are not, because they're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And I think it's because it's these like quick hits, bop, 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 bop. New content. Whereas a podcast, it's like a nice, wonderful conversation that you can be a part of, that you can also put down and pause, and you're not just stuck ruining your life and not paying attention to other things in your life because of podcasts. I haven't heard of that, but I have heard of it with TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and shorts, especially, more than anything. But then we could get into other topics of like other people who are not engaging in any pleasure-seeking behavior. I don't know if that exists. Like, even like a monk, for example. Like, I feel like the reason a monk would do what they do is because it brings them pleasure in some way, even though it's not like, you know what I mean? Like, a monk it brings them some level of pleasure in order to do that. It brings them pleasure to not go to other sources of pleasure. So I don't know if there's ever...
This reminds me of the time when there was someone who was making content, and I don't know if this analogy is going to land, but basically I said something to the effect of, he isn't trying to say things for engagement. He's actually trying to say what's true. Mm-hmm. And you were like, that doesn't exist. You're like, everyone is crafting a message for engagement to some level.
Yeah, correct.
I think the first thing you said is absolutely true. Mm-hmm. And you just came up with it on the spot, which is amazing. But does the pleasure...
Dude, I'm so tired. I don't even remember what the first thing I said was. What did I just say?
I didn't either for a second, but I'm going to repeat it right now because it came back to me. I got so locked on that last little interaction. Does what you are doing, the behavior you're partaking in, is it taking away from other areas of your life? And I think we could even steelman that with like, is the behavior preventing you from your values? Is it preventing you from being the type of person who you want to be? And that might be where, if it is, then you should take a look at it and maybe reduce the amount of it or cut cold turkey if it's something that you can't moderate. But I completely agree with you that listening to podcasts is absolutely okay. Like, there are these little pleasures in life that are not bad.
Correct.
And that can add, like joy and fulfillment and education and all of these things and make our lives more full as a result.
I also look at, and this is completely unscientific, this is just how I'm thinking about it in this moment, where it's like, let's say we have like a dopamine meter, okay? And we're looking at not just how full the dopamine meter can get, but how quickly it can get full. So like a podcast and an Instagram reel might both fill up your dopamine meter, but one of them is going to fill it up way more quickly and drain it way more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Really like hit. Whereas with 1 hour-long podcast, it might fill up your dopamine meter, but it will take the entire time. And then once it's over, it's a slow progression downwards. Like it's not like super fast and super slow. It's a nice long progression over a period of time. Sort of like reading a book. It takes a while. Whereas these short, quick hits, it literally might fill it all the way up to the same level, but drains it super fast, fills it super fast, drains, fills. That I think also plays a role in the addictive nature of it.
100%. Yeah, you can think of it as a meter. You can think of it as a scale, right? A pain and pleasure weighted scale. And the more intense the pleasure is, the more time you're going to spend in pain after that pleasure, right? So if we throw a podcast like barely on the pleasure side, then to the right of that, more pleasurable, we would throw short form vertical video. And to the right of that, we could throw, like pornography. And to the right of that, you could throw
cocaine. Or
yeah,
whatever.
like you start getting into like drugs and substances that really ramp up dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting for sure. But let's just
keep listening to the pod. Keep listening to the pod. Eileen.
Well, yeah,
we're not going anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, I saw this cool YouTube video. I think it was on the Los Angeles Chargers page, randomly popped up. Or it might have been the NFL page. I'm not sure. It was like a behind the scenes of everything that their dietitian does, their team dietitian.
Okay.
And it's just like a 6 or 7 minute video. And it was really interesting, actually. 2 things that I took from it. One being the way he talks about food environment and how it's directly the opposite of the way that fat loss coaches talk about food environment. If you think about a person who's trying to lose weight, having an apple on the counter instead of some candy is going to be net beneficial for them in the long run. Or, keeping healthier foods around, crafting their food environment for less total caloric intake.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was talking about making sure that all of his athletes are properly hydrated, like are getting enough calories, are getting enough nutrients, because undereating is a bigger problem for these, professional athletes. And so he talks about using the space in the locker rooms to like lay out snacks and drinks and basically like take up as much visual space as possible so that these guys are more likely to just grab this, and has a ton of really good options around for them to be getting enough food in, essentially.
Do you know what some of the options are? Like what foods they keep around? Or did they include that or no?
They did. The one that's standing out to me is actually the coach's diet, which is not good at all. He's like, when he gets off the bus, he likes chicken nuggets. At halftime, he eats a hot dog. He really likes Uncrustables. But it's a combination.
This is the coach who's not playing.
Right. We can link the video, though, and people can check that out if they want to. Because, yes, they are highlighting different foods on there.
I'm wondering if there's like granola or like, I'm just wondering what they would put for someone who's at the very least not trying to lose weight, but also potentially even trying to gain it.
Yeah, gain weight or just like properly.
Fuel performance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was another interesting one. They run what's called a sweat test, a sweat rate test in preseason, and basically figure out, I don't even know how they do this or if it's a legitimate test. I'd never heard of it before, but they're seeing what an athlete's sodium loss is per hour under certain conditions. And then each player has a card with that data on it. Like so-and-so loses 880 milligrams of sodium per hour. And so in their special drink that this guy's making for him, yeah, it's like, okay, a game is 3 hours. I know I need this much in here for him to properly replenish over the course of the game to optimize performance. It was really cool, actually.
I think it's super cool. I also am so glad you're bringing this up because the average individual is comparing themselves to elite athletes. And it's like, this is such a great example of it's like, not only do they have this information, but they have someone filling up that individual's water bottle to specifically what that individual needs to optimize their, like, it's a different level that people don't know. And comparing yourself to elite athletes or elite body or anyone who this is their job is just it's apples to oranges.
It's their job and they're the best in the world at their job.
Yeah. They beat so many other people who are also really good to get to that level. Yeah. Yes. It's such a good point. The genetic elite. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, man. And you make a good point, which is don't compare yourself to them. And there's no reason for
doing what they do.
To like match their, if you think something's cool, you can take from it, but we don't need to be matching their protocols.
I always just thought when I saw on a football field and like the athletic trainers and stuff going out there, giving the water bottle to their athlete, I just assumed everyone had the same water bottle. They were sharing it, whatever. It's like, oh no, they individualize whose water bottle is who needs to be drinking it. It's pretty crazy.
There's a new study, but I haven't read it yet.
Okay.
So we can wait on that one.
I haven't read this study. This is separate. I was just, one of my buddies was posting about it today. He's not even in the fitness industry. He was posting about this study today, not fitness related at all, about divorce rates. Really interesting. I believe the study was done out of China from 2002 to 2022. And it was studying how China implemented a law that said before you complete a divorce, you have to have a 30-day waiting period. And divorce rates plummeted by 70%.
Wow.
Which is outrageous. And I haven't read the study. I need to look into it. He posted some screenshots from the full text that I found very interesting. But when they implemented this 30-day waiting period, 70% drop in divorce rates. And basically what the researchers had concluded was that oftentimes what might be a mild event is people jump to conclusions and it leads to a big fight, and then they make these quick decisions. This isn't obviously talking about a divorce as a result of a major event or many major events in a long line, but making life-changing decisions based on a potential overreaction to maybe what might have been a relatively mild situation that you could have handled through a cooling off period and then discussions thereafter, which I think has far-reaching implications outside of marriage as well. But I did think that was very, very cool. Like, all right, just you can do it, but you got to wait 30 days. Like, and then we decide. Like, I thought that was really interesting.
That's wild. It makes sense though.
Yeah, it does.
I can't believe that they were allowed to get a divorce immediately in the first place.
I mean,
is it in the US? Is it state by state divorce law?
I have no idea. I think I'm almost positive you could get a divorce. And I'm making it up.
No,
I don't know. But.
No, dude, there's like a separation. It might be state by state. And so whatever I'm saying might only apply to one state or a handful of states, but I'm almost certain there's like a legal separation period.
Oh, is there?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
I'm not an expert on this.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm going through my head because my aunt, who's married to my uncle, they've been married for like 50 years, and they have one of the best marriages I've ever seen in my life. Before she was married to my uncle, she had another marriage, and she always felt like she's funny. Like, she's a very funny woman, and she's like, she loves scotch. She's like, she's funny. She's hard. She's a no bullshit kind of woman. And she would always say, Now this is making sense, because I always just thought you could just get a divorce whenever you wanted without any, but it makes sense now you're saying, because she would always say, yeah, we got a Mexican divorce. And they literally went to Mexico because they weren't fighting over property. They weren't fighting. They were just like, listen, we just want to end it. We want it to be quick. Like, we just want it to be over. So I don't know. She told me that they went to Mexico and got a divorce, and it was legal. I don't know how it works, but then they were divorced. This is what I've been told since I was a kid. I've done zero fact checking on this, and I want to ask her now. But it's interesting. I don't know how that works. I don't know if that works over state lines or over like across countries. I don't know how that works legally, but that's what she said they did, and they got legally divorced.
Interesting.
It's for like how in Vegas you could just like do a shotgun wedding, do a shotgun divorce.
Yeah, but the contract is signed in the U.S. and I honestly, I think it's just state. I don't know that there's a federal aspect of a marriage contract, but that's cool. Good for her and being in such a good relationship now.
Yeah, I mean they have an incredible marriage now, but
yeah, the cooling off period makes a lot of sense. And I think, a lot of religions of all time forbid or like placed a great number of restrictions around divorce, which is similar to that China study where you're binding yourself to another person for life, because there are going to be times where you're both like, this fuck stinks. Off. Like, yeah, like what are we doing here? And over the course of a lifetime, like, yeah, I can't even imagine, to be honest, but without the commitment of, through thick and thin, rich or poor, till death do us part, you're going to there will be times where you both like question what's going on. I would imagine. Cool study. My study was about protein, not nearly as interesting, but I'm going to read it first before we talk about that. Want to fire up some Instagram questions?
I did an overrated, underrated the other day. You want me to go through those?
Sure.
Ankle weights, overrated, underrated.
Do people like ankle weights?
Yeah, a lot of people like ankle weights.
I'm going to go off of my understanding, which is no one ever talks about ankle weights, and so I'm going to say they are. You're barely underrated.
Off scrolling. That's why.
I just scroll different things than you.
You think they're underrated?
Well, if they're a big thing, then they're not. Then they're overrated if they're a big thing. They have their use cases.
When would you use ankle weights?
There are some like more beginner variation hip flexor strengthening exercises that I might use ankle weights for.
A lot. The big use of these. The big one is many people use them for walking. What do you think ankle weights for walking?
It's not something I've given a great deal of thought to. Mechanically, I don't see, like, if you want to load your walking just to make it more difficult and get your heart rate up more than just walking with your body weight, I'd much prefer a weighted vest.
Yeah. Yep.
Like mechanically thinking about adding a weight to your ankle and the changes in like muscular recruitment and your gait and your stride. I've never tried it myself, and haven't ever thought about it, but it doesn't sound like the greatest idea to me. Why are people loading up their ankles to walk?
There are many reasons. Listen, this isn't a new thing. This has been around since way before we were born, where they've done ankle weights for walking and for jazzercise and all that stuff.
I don't know about jazzercise. Okay, that's why.
But like, I think, so weighted vests are becoming very popular, like super, super popular. And I think then as a result, people are like, oh, well, I'll do ankle weights too. And the benefits of a weighted vest or weighted walking with the bone density, especially for women as they age, like, it's great. I agree with you. If you're going to weight your walking, just wear a vest for a number of reasons. But I think the ankle weights, I'm 100% with you on literally everything you said. I think they're great for hip flexor drills. I think they can be great for even some hamstring drills, for hip mobility stuff.
Probably some glute stuff, like not as effective as.
Yeah. maybe higher
many
repetition,
other
whatever. Yeah.
you could.
But from a walking perspective and a cardio perspective, I'd rather you just wear a vest, because if you the issue for me is the repeated exposure with the ankle weight is a lot of stress on the hip flexors. I see strains happening. I see potential knee issues. I see it changing your gait. I see some issues with it happening where you can actually load more weight into a vest and get a greater metabolic effect, get greater bone density effect with less risk. So I think I think they're great. And I use ankle weights for some hip flexor work and mobility work, but like from a walking perspective, I think it's overrated for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about the difference in bone density improvement with a load at chest level versus your ankles. Even if
I would imagine it's just total load.
You think so?
Less about where it's placed. Yeah, I would imagine like you take someone who's seriously overweight but they still walk, their bone density is through the fucking roof.
No, I agree, but
I think it's more about the total load on your body, less about it being centered around your legs. Because you're still supporting it. You're still supporting the weight on your legs.
I'd have to think about that.
Training to muscle failure for hypertrophy.
Well, in one camp, it's probably a little overrated. In the other camp, it's a little underrated.
You want to expand on that one?
Some people think that you have to take most sets to RPE 910 to maximize hypertrophy, whereas others think that that creates too much fatigue and you're better off spending more time in the 7 to 8 RPE range for the majority of your working sets, and that will create more hypertrophy. So for the people who take everything to failure, it's probably a little overrated. And for the people who don't take anything to failure, I think there's benefit for gaining muscle to taking some sets to failure sometimes.
I think for beginners into like early intermediate, training to failure is overrated. Mm-hmm. You just don't need it.
Especially beginners.
Especially beginner. And then for more advanced, the more advanced you get, like the more difficult it becomes to put on muscle, the higher intense need, I would say it becomes more underrated, where it's like you've really got to put more effort in to get more muscle.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. And the issue is I think that I see a lot of beginners being influenced by social media posts being like, you got to train to failure. And I'm like, all right, but you're literally 4 weeks in. You don't need to be going to failure. Like you could literally train at a 6 out of 10 intensity and you're going to get stronger and build muscle and you're not going to be as sore and you're going to have more longevity in this thing. You're going to be less likely to injure yourself. When you're more advanced, you've got your training down, you've got your technique down. Yeah, go to failure more often if you'd like, and because you know how to modulate yourself, but a beginner doesn't need it. So that's how I'd classify it.
I like it.
Overrated, underrated, listening to your gut, intuition.
Listening to your gut at a high level is underrated. I think we live in a left brain dominated society that has a lot of brain activity and less like gut/heart. At the same time, there are a lot of decisions where you're not trusting your gut. You're not trusting your intuition. Like intuitive eating comes to mind as something where like, no, your intuition is wrong about the whole case of Oreos. So in some instances, look, the very best and most impactful decisions that I ever made were the ones where my brain, society, social norms, everyone I talked to told me to do one thing, and I did the exact opposite. And because I had such a strong pull in my gut that I couldn't rationalize, that I acted on that behavior. I took the quote unquote Kierkegaardian leap of faith of not knowing what comes next, but I'm going to move in that direction anyway. And so for decisions like that, I would say that intuition is underrated.
I'm going to use this to lead into a separate topic, or specifically around intuitive eating, since you brought it up, because I think it's helpful. I would argue that the people who are saying that they're intuitively eating and also eating the entire box of Oreos, if they were objectively asked, do you think this is the right choice to be eating this entire box of Oreos? They would, if they were objective, they'd be like, no, I don't think this is the right choice, but I'm letting my emotions take control of me, or I'm listening to what other people are saying who are telling me it's okay and they're enabling me, and then I'm falling prey to that. And the reason I would say this is because the health at every size movement, we've seen it almost entirely drop off.
Yep.
GLP-1s have almost entirely
killed health at every size.
The health at every size movement.
Yeah.
Not all the people, a huge amount of the people who were vehemently health at every size, now all of a sudden have lost 100 pounds on GLP-1s.
Uh-huh.
And by the way, I'm a huge supporter of GLP-1s. I'm not hating on it, but it goes to show that those people didn't actually believe what they were saying. And so if we're actually talking about intuition, which I completely agree with you on everything, I think the person who's eating that whole box of Oreos intuitively knows that they're making the wrong choice. They're just doing it because they've been enabled to believe that either they're not going to be able to make the right choice no matter what. Like they've been enabled to believe that they can't do it. They've been enabled to believe that this is the choice they should be making. But if you actually sit them down and have a conversation, they would be like, I hate that I'm making this choice. I know I shouldn't be making this choice. This is the wrong choice, but I keep doing it. That's what I would imagine. And which goes to the point of listening to your gut and not allowing outside voices to enable you, to convince you. I think this is true in fitness. I think it's true in relationships. I know many relationships have been destroyed because of outside influences. People, like Baelish type people talking in their ears, trying to convince.
Game of Thrones reference right there.
Right? Like just like whispering in your ears, like trying to convince you that your spouse is evil or they're doing it wrong. When it's like, well, no, like, you know your spouse, you know they're doing the right thing, but you've got people whispering in your ear that are like putting, like, it happens all the time. I think that the majority of the time, the feeling that you have in your gut that is true and real, regardless of what other people are saying, that is often against what other people are saying, is a really, really important voice to listen to.
I love that. That's a take that I hadn't heard or considered that I really like. And I think what we can call your intuition there, when you said, tell this person to ask themselves, is that what you should do? Is eating the whole thing of Oreos what you should do? You're asking them to consult with their conscience. And we can develop or like blunt our conscience through life, through behaviors, through good or bad habits, through willful blindness, through continually not listening to your conscience until that voice gets quieter and quieter and quieter, or continuing to listen to it and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. But you make a really good point of have that person ask themselves, is this right? Is this what you should, is this the correct decision? And most of them are going to say, no, it's not.
They're not happy about it.
Yeah. Now, does that mean that take a beginner who's never counted calories before and have them intuitively eat? Is it a good strategy?
Terrible.
No. But I actually think you made one of the better arguments for intuitive eating that I've heard just now with that. Yeah. Which is, it can work to a degree if you are actually listening to your gut and acting on it. And you need the education on, like,
you have to,
because without the education, your intuition isn't going to know.
You can't intuitively eat protein if you don't know what foods are high in protein. Mm-hmm. You just can't. You can't intuitively know how many calories you need. You can't intuitively know that, especially based on how we're designed. It's like we're designed to want to eat more and more and more. That's
to need to eat more and more based on all of history.
How we've adapted, right, with famine and everything. Yeah.
Food environment forever. And now just in the last however many years, we have complete excess and abundance of these delicious high calorie foods. It's like more. Winter is coming. I need to store some fat. It's like, no, the supermarkets are open in the winter. You don't.
supermarkets are open. You have Uber Eats deliver it to you. Yeah. Or you drive there in your heated vehicle.
Yeah.
Nick Reese asked if the Kansas City Chiefs are overrated or underrated.
What's up, Nick? I think we have to say that the Chiefs are underrated. Basically, a huge percentage of America dislikes the Chiefs right now, and that always happens, right? At the end of the Patriots dynasty, everyone hated on the Patriots. Patriots were a little different, the cheating stuff, etc. But yeah, the Chiefs are certainly underrated. I mean,
Did the Patriots cheat?
I don't know. Deflategate, Spygate, they had all these gates. I'm not in the weeds to that level. Gary would say yes, I believe.
Gary hates the Patriots.
Yeah, Jets fan. I mean, dude, Patrick Mahomes has been to, I don't know the exact stat, but in his career, I think he was drafted in 2017, didn't play his rookie year, so like 2018 on, he's been to the AFC Championship like every single year except maybe one, or maybe every year. It's either every year or every year except one. And he's been to the Super Bowl the majority of those years.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they could potentially three-peat against the Eagles here.
Are they in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, the Chiefs and the Eagles. They do it with like a rotating cast of characters. They're by far wide receiver one got hurt in week 4 of this season. It's just like this next man up mentality of whoever's there, we're going to use them. Yeah, Andy Reid's an incredible coach. There's a thing in life where we love to cheer for the underdog, and then if someone's too good for too long, we like to tear them down.
Yeah.
Right? We see this with individual personalities on social media. And by the way, if they get torn down long enough and they stick with it, usually like people start to love them again. Yeah. And so that's what I'm seeing with the Chiefs right now.
I've got literally no input on that whatsoever. Calf raises.
I think calf raises are. Do people still do calf raises? Do people?
Yeah. People who want bigger calves.
Yeah, but I've seen so many people do years of calf training and see like calves are a muscle group where there's so much genetic diversity to the ability to build calves.
Dude, I've seen people who train calves for years and they do it well, like high intensity. They do it properly and almost no change. And I've seen people who've literally never done a calf raise and never worked out in their entire life and had the most monstrous calves I've ever. Dude, I forget the teacher's name in high school. This guy never lifted a weight ever, and he was known around school. Like you could see his calves busting through his fucking sweatpants. Like they were hams. It was wow. And we were like, "Do you train?" He was like, "Nope." But you know what he did? He walked on his toes.
Oh, interesting.
The way he walked, like it wasn't deliberate. That was just his gait. He was just like a toe walker. Uh-huh. He was like pop, 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 pop.
Was he a bigger guy?
He's huge. He was a big dude. Yeah,
so he's a big dude who basically
doing calf raises on every rep,
his whole
every
life.
step,
forever. He's a volume lifter.
He's a volume. It's exactly right. Yeah, the biggest calves you've ever seen, bigger than my head.
We got to get pictures of these.
Pop, 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 all through the hallway. Pop, pop, pop. Yeah,
good for him.
Zercher deadlifts. Or Zercher squats, either one.
Oh, I was like, how do you do that?
People do Zercher deadlifts. It's a big thing recently.
Really?
Yeah, it's a big thing. You know who does it super well is Alec Blennis. I've brought him up a couple of times. He's a coach for Alex Viada. Like when you have insane mobility, like and also like coupled with really super strong, they literally like straight leg fucking deadlift.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's insane.
So conventional?
Yeah.
And not elevated?
No. It's incredible.
No.
You want me to show you a video?
I got to see a video.
I'll show you.
Let me try and ask you if this is actually how it's done first. So this guy's got shoulder width stance. He's got a bar with normal size plates on it, and he is getting in a proper starting position with the bar like under his forearms, like in his elbows.
He's doing it on a deficit here, which is pretty crazy. Check this out. If you're watching YouTube, you're watching it. Alec is a beast, bro. straight leg, completely straight. Like, tell me that's not impressive. Are you there?
What? Yeah, I'm there. I'm in shock.
Tell me that's not impressive. Come on. That was at 255 or something. Like, that's crazy. Straight leg deficit deadlift in a Zercher position. That's crazy.
What's the real life application?
He gets featured on a podcast talking about how fucking cool it is and how strong it is.
Cool. Then it's it would be awesome. It would be very hard to do.
I just think it's sick. Like, it's a really cool expression of strength and mobility. And also holding that much weight in the crux of your arms is just outrageously painful. So
I would be curious what percentage of the population could go from where they're currently at to doing that without spending like substantial amounts of time injured. And that's not a criticism on him doing it. Like,
you mean like a back injury type thing?
Anything. Yeah.
I don't think I would be spent. I was with you. I think it takes a lot of time, and he's open. Like, he trains a lot, like hours and hours and hours and hours. Like, he's very open about how much time he spends training. That's what I think is the biggest thing, is how much time do you have to spend training? For the person who's working out 3 times a week for 30 to 60 minutes per session, and who maybe is definitely not genetically gifted, I don't even know if that's possible over, I don't know, a long period of time. But for someone who's spending a huge portion of their day, essentially daily or almost daily, working out, I see it being realistic. But that's not who we're talking to. That's not the vast majority of people.
I guess what I'm saying is the people who I see striving for incredible feats of mobility end up getting way more banged up in their training for it than the average person would think someone doing quote unquote flexibility and mobility training gets banged up.
I agree. I would say that carries over to any individual who's trying to achieve any elite high level performance, whether it's mobility, whether it's strength, whether it's when you're chasing an elite level goal that most people never achieve, you will have more injuries. Yeah, you will. For sure. I completely agree with that.
Yeah. And for the same reason that I would tell someone who like scrolls across social media and sees whatever, an 800-pound squat, and they want to do that too, or they see a movement like that, like,
I think the answer is, for most people, it's overrated. For most people, it is. Like, for the average individual, it's overrated.
Unless you want us to talk about it on the podcast. Yeah. Or you there's joy in pursuing.
I enjoy it. Like, I personally like it, and I think it's fun, but I can also simultaneously, like, I would never, ever put that in the inner circle, and I would never put it into anyone's program unless they explicitly asked for it. Like, ever. Which that's the answer. It's overrated from that perspective.
Yeah,
but it is also really cool.
And we gotta go. We got a mentorship Q&A right now. Actually, I'm not even gonna ask it, but I'll say, having never heard of a Zercher deadlift until just now, I would say that the main benefit is, if you think it's really cool, then it's really cool.
Yep. Yeah. It's a like, really cool feat of strength.
I don't know what that's, and flexibility.
And flexibility, yes.
I don't know. To each their own. I see a lot of people who are like, will see cool gimmicky exercises on social media and want to do that and replace things that are beneficial for more gimmicky stuff. I mean, we all do. And I'm not calling that gimmicky, but for most people, it's overrated.
Yeah, agreed. For most people, it's overrated. You don't need it. But if you're like if you're already at a higher level and you're looking for something new and a new challenge to try and hit, I think it's a fun thing to do. But for the average individual looking to improve their strength and their health and their fitness, there's no question, of course, overrated.
Yeah. I also, We got to go to the Q&A. I think that on a philosophical level, doing something because you want praise from others is probably not a good reason to, and I don't know this person, but if we're talking about like doing it because, I don't know. If it's for the love of the game, I like it. I'll leave it at that.
I think so. I don't know him well personally. We've spoken a few times. I have a feeling he just does it for the love of the game. I mean, this guy's a freak of nature. He just does crazy shit. But I'm also sure, as someone who also posts stuff on social media and also loves positive feedback, I'm sure that's part of it as well. Like logically, of course, we all love getting positive feedback. But I would imagine he just does it for the love of the game.
All right.
That's it.
Sign us off.
Thanks for listening. We appreciate you. Have an amazing rest of your week. We'll talk to you next week.